Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about how to glow from the inside out. And today we're talking about Prequel skincare. Now, this is a skincare line that was started by Dr. Sam Ellis, a dermatologist. And this is something that you all have been asking me about for a while now. As this has been gaining popularity, you've been asking me like, what do you think about this skincare line? Like, what do you think about these products? Like, is it any good? Especially because they market themselves as very gentle, very effective, ingredient driven, and suitable for sensitive skin, which is all things that I absolutely love. And by the way, if you love all those things too, come join our skincare community. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, especially if you want to see more content just like this video from me. All right, if you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's dive into this review. So let's talk about Gleanser. Now this is Prequel's gentle cleanser, and it's called Gleanser because it's actually made up of 50% of glycerin. And so glycerin is definitely a dermatologist's favorite for sure. This is a really common but very good humectant for the skin. It's an ingredient that helps to bring water and hydration into the skin. Now glycerin itself, definitely a humectant used very commonly across skincare products. But you know, when you start to use it in higher quantities, like here at the 50%, it also starts to act as a skin protectant as well. So not only adding hydration in the skin, but helping to hold that hydration in place and help to keep it from escaping through the skin, thus, you know, creating transepidermal water loss or dehydration. It has such an interesting, bouncy, jelly, glycerin-like texture. It is truly unlike any other cleanser that I've tried. Even other jelly-like, you know, cleanser textures that I've tried doesn't quite compare to this. This has a really beautiful slip across the skin. Slip is really the word here. It is quite slippery, jelly, plump, cushiony feeling, and it does glide really, really nicely. This does work into the gentlest, faintest of foams. It doesn't really foam up intensely, and even if you didn't work it into your skin quite a bit, it probably wouldn't foam up all that much. But it does feel like it does clean the skin, but it also feels like it's hydrating the skin, refreshing the skin, cooling the skin on contact. It does take just a little extra effort to wash off in my personal experience. It doesn't wash away like as quickly as a traditional foaming cleanser would, or even a milk cleanser. It does seem to want to cling. Like I said, it kind of coats the skin a little bit, and it does take just a little bit more effort to rinse that coat or that film off of the skin. But once you've done that, your skin is left hydrated, soft, even actually a little bit plump, and just incredibly hydrated. I do not feel any of that like stripped, dry, tight type of feeling. I don't feel like my skin barrier has been tested, but my skin feels clean and refreshed. So I was actually really impressed with this one. Now, I have been reading some reviews online because, you know, I'm not the behemoth in skincare opinions, right? I'm not the only one out there. There have been some folks who have had some allergic reactions or some sensitivities to this cleanser. And this makes sense because I think anytime that we start to go into high percentages of certain ingredients, there's always going to be that risk for skin where it just could be too much. That doesn't mean that glycerin is a bad ingredient. It doesn't mean that it on the whole is an irritating ingredient. It's just that when we pack so much into a product, right? That is always, I think, going to be a fringe issue, meaning that it's not going to affect like a wide group of people, but it's always going to be a concern. And so, you know, it does give you pause a little bit, like, you know, is 50% glycerin, is that going to be too much? Is that just for marketing alone, for the whole, you know, Gleanser kind of like splashy name and then that high percentage of the ingredient? It's definitely working for your skin. It's definitely hydrating it. It's definitely doing something different than most average cleansers on the market. And I did find it to be gentle and I didn't get an irritation from it. But there are enough reviews out there where folks are having adverse reactions, and I truly just think that it is due to the high quantity of glycerin and that just not quite suiting their skin. So there's always going to be that potential out there. Definitely beware of that. Now let's talk about Pre-Gleanse. This is the oil cleanser meant to be used before Pre-Gleanser, and this is meant to remove stubborn makeup as well as thick layers of sunscreen, just kind of help give you a pre-cleanse, right, before you go in with the cleanser or Gleanser for a double cleansing method. So this oil oil cleanser, again, all the products from Prequel, fragrance free here, no essential oils, no drying forms of alcohol, very gentle kind of formula here. And I wasn't too like, ooh, ingredients, but I was like, ooh, texture when I started using this, because you may know I have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for oil cleansers that have a thin, runny, fluid-like texture. They are not like the thicker types of oil cleansers that are maybe a little bit harder to spread on the skin, or maybe don't rinse away as cleanly. I love the really fluidy, lightweight oil cleansers, and that's exactly what this is. I adore this texture because even when I'm using this and not wearing makeup, it's actually really great for helping to remove any of those little hardened sebum clogs in the skin. Sometimes people call them grits. So this can be really great for folks who have really congested skin, who have a lot of clogged pores, because it can kind of help pop out those little annoying hardened sebum plugs. That type of texture really does that quite nicely. But this also removes makeup like a champ. And what I really like about this, and I kind of mentioned about that cleanser does not have this, the oil cleanser, Pre-Gleanse, actually washes off of the face very effortlessly, very cleanly. And then a lot of that is down to that much more lighter, fluidy type of texture. Just rinses away really cleanly. Now let's talk about half and half fluid moisturizer. They are actually recommending this as something that you can use a couple of different ways. This is more of like a milky emulsion type of product, so it can be used as a final layer like a moisturizer, but it could also be used layered underneath a moisturizer, maybe even like a treatment step or a serum. And so this is really interesting because this is a ceramide focused product that is all about strengthening your skin barrier, which you know is so my thing. I absolutely love ceramides. I love strengthening my skin barrier, right? And it really is the root of a lot of common skin issues. And so this is why we see so many people really talking about the skin barrier these days, because it is the root of dehydrated skin. It is often the root of sensitivities within the skin. Sometimes it can even be the root of acne within the skin, even like excessive oil production in the skin. Like you just want a healthy barrier for healthy, glowy skin. And so the formula here is really interesting. The half and half name comes from the use of half peptides and half ceramides. So they are using peptides, particularly Matrixyl 3000. And this peptide, it's actually a duo of peptides. These actually help to hydrate and plump the skin. They do have well-aging benefits for stimulating collagen, targeting fine lines and wrinkles. It can also help with skin tone and texture, just the overall look of skin. But these peptides also help to hydrate and plump out the skin as well. And then they're using a couple different forms of ceramides. And interestingly, they are citing that they're using 1% of ceramide NP. Now, I know 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, that is quite a bit of ceramide content for a skincare product like this. Even moisturizers with lots of different ceramides in them aren't necessarily adding up to 1%. They are also using quite a few different amino acids. Now, these are really great because they really help to hydrate the skin. And oftentimes when your skin barrier needs help, when it is weak or damaged, one of the symptoms of that is actually water loss, dehydration. When your skin feels really tight and thirsty, you know that feeling? Dehydration is a symptom, and the cause is actually your weak or damaged moisture barrier. They are bang on the money calling this a fluid moisturizer. It is very runny. It is very loose. It is lightweight, but it is still creamy. It is still silky. It does still have a richness to it, but it's just not this heavy, dense, like buttery type of cream, right? It is this very beautiful fluid texture, almost a cross between maybe like a milky toner and like a true lotiony emulsion type of texture. It's a little bit of both. It absorbs into your skin, then you start to feel the moisture. You start to feel a kiss of richness, but that moisture is very lightweight. It's not this overwhelming, thick, dense layer sitting on top of your skin. It's getting deep down, moisturizing inside of the skin, still allowing your skin to breathe without a heavy layer, but it just fills in all the little areas that feel a little bit irritated, maybe a little bit itchy, a little bit dry, a little bit dehydrated. This is a fluid, lightweight moisturizer serum emulsion hybrid product, right? So it actually doesn't really have a lot of occlusivity to it like a traditional straightforward cream moisturizer would have. So if you need something very, very like occlusive, this is not going to act as a final moisturizer for you. But it actually functions as a beautiful skin barrier treatment or a serum type of step in the skincare. And then you just, use your traditional cream on top of it. And that's actually how I use this product. So I've been using this a lot on the nights that I use my retinol. And this is actually a really flexible product for that type of a skincare routine as well, especially if you like to kind of sandwich your retinol or your retinoids or tretinoin right into your routine. Put this on, then put on your retinoid, and then put on your thicker moisturizer to seal it all in place. It will feel amazing. I was going through a little bit of skin sensitivity just a few weeks ago when I started to test this out, because we are just getting pummeled with the smoke from the wildfires coming down from Canada in my area. Like, you look out the window, it's actually like you can see the smoke in the air. It's really gross. The air quality is very bad. I can feel it some days when it's really bad. I can actually feel it in my chest, like my lungs don't feel good. It's actually not very healthy. This air is wearing down on my skin barrier, and that's why I'm getting the irritation and the inflammation and the itchiness, right? And so I started using this to help strengthen my skin barrier, and I could really feel not only relief, like pretty much as soon as I started using this, like my skin was just like, drinking it in, right? But I also felt like long term, it was helping to strengthen my barrier. So it's not just like fun, fancy ingredients that like sort of add up when you look at it. Like, in practice, this actually functions really well to help strengthen up the skin barrier, but just in a little bit of a different way, not a really heavy, dense, rich way, but it still offers a lot of lightweight moisture to the skin. Now let's talk about the multi-acid milk peel AHA exfoliating solution. This was definitely a wild card product for me to try, but I have been getting a little bit more into AHAs over the last almost 2 years now. It's been prior to that, I just did not have very good experiences with AHAs, and I sort of wrote them off. I was like, my skin doesn't like these. But as I said, over the last 2 years, I've been opening up to them more and really embracing them in my regular skincare routine and getting very good results from them. So this is, while the entire Prequel skincare line is really geared towards folks with sensitive skin, this is a potent type of product. This is not a gentle, it is gentle. Let me take that back. I guess what I'm trying to say is it uses a lot of AHA. This is not a beginner amount of AHA. And so this is one that you may want to cautiously dip your toes into if you've had issues with high percentages of AHAs or any type of chemical exfoliant in the past. So here they are using 15% of glycolic acid. Now that's kind of like the king or the queen of the AHA world, right? This is an amazing exfoliant. It is great for helping to really, I think about it like as a rejuvenation for the skin, because it really helps to exfoliate the top surface of the skin, get rid of any excessive dead skin cells, help to smooth out any rough texture, any congestion bumps. It's actually a really great brightening type of chemical exfoliant. It can be really great for addressing, the pores and tone and texture, and just give you a rejuvenated, refreshed kind of look to your skin. Anytime I use AHA products, I'm always like, my skin is so smooth, my skin is so bright, my skin just looks so much more glowy, like almost immediately, because that's just how this chemical exfoliant works. So 15% of glycolic acid, but the name suggests multi-acids, more than one, and they are using more than one. They are also using phytic, malic, as well as mandelic and lactic acids. And all of these AHAs are ingredients that work at lower pHs on the skin. And so this entire product has been formulated to have a pH of 3.3. That's important for these acids to actually be able to do the benefits that I just said, right? The claims of these acids, they do need that type of lower pH pH environment in order to work effectively for the skin. And so this has not only been formulated with lots of AHA, but it's been formulated at the correct pH level as well for them to be effective and for you to get the most out of these acids. So this is a really interesting kind of like milky gel-like texture. It's very runny and fluidy, and it actually really reminds me quite a bit of like a milky kind of toner texture, where half and half was truly a fluidy cream like lightweight moisturizer texture and emulsion texture. This really does remind me more of like a toner. And so this is something that works really beautifully right after washing your face. You can put this on. You can either shake a very restrained small quantity into your hand and apply it like you would a toner, or you can put it onto a like a cotton ball or a cotton round, however you prefer to do it. I did it with my hands, and I did do a restrained amount. I might try it with a cotton pad the next time that I use it. But I definitely felt this peel when I put it on my skin. It didn't like burn or sting or anything like that, but I could definitely feel it kind of working on my skin. You will feel that with higher percentages, especially of glycolic acid. I use a 15% glycolic acid wash off mask where I do feel a little bit of like a little spiciness on my skin. And then when I wash it away, my skin's not irritated afterwards, but I can just kind of feel it working on my skin. So don't be too surprised if you also feel a little sensation. Just kind of tune into that, because if your skin starts to really burn, really sting uncomfortably, turn really red, or even feel like it's burning, that would be a sign that like this is not a good product for you, right? But if you just feel a little, I call it a little stimulation, that's normal. Just kind of keep your eye on your skin, because again, I just want to emphasize this is potent. This is a lot of chemical exfoliants. When I used it, I actually just used it a few days ago. And I was like, ooh, is this going to be too much? And like, here we go. Right. But I put it on, and yeah, I could definitely feel that it was kind of working its magic. But I was actually quite surprised with the texture, how it felt on my skin. I do feel like, even though it really is just an AHA solution, by the way, you do leave this on your skin. You don't wash this off. So you just proceed with the rest of your skincare routine. And there's no need to wait either for, like for it to dry down, or like you give it like 15 minutes. You don't need to do that. So I just went in with the rest of my skincare, and I would say for like the 20 minutes or so, and that's really the active time of AHAs, about 20 minutes or so, I could feel it kind of working on my skin. And then afterwards, I didn't feel it anymore. And I didn't wake up with my skin feeling raw or irritated or anything. I actually, when I woke up, I was like, my skin looks really smooth. It looks brighter. It has that rejuvenated effect that I have come to expect from a high, percentage AHA type of product like this one. So like I said, this was kind of a wild card for me. I was pretty much expecting it to actually test my skin and push it too far. And as I was mentioning, I have been going through bouts of sensitivity just due to the environment and the weather right now. So the fact that, yes, it was a little spicy when it was on my skin, working on my skin, but the fact that it didn't push my skin too far and I got really nice results, this is something that I'm like, cautiously like, give me a little bit more, give me a little bit more. Now let's talk about Multi-Quench Plumping Hydration Serum. So this is a really interesting mix of humectants, and this is really just meant to bring a lot of hydration into your skin. They're using 1% of polyglutamic acid, as well as 3% of a polyglutamic acid complex. So a couple of different forms at different molecular weights, which kind of like hyaluronic acid, it's important to get different molecular weights. So you're getting the hydration at deeper levels, at medium levels, right? It definitely helps to get more meaningful hydration deeper into the skin. They are also using osmolytes. So these are really interesting class of ingredients that actually help to contribute to long-lasting hydration in the skin. They not only bring water, but they help to bind the water to the skin, and they also help to support the skin barrier, which again is that kind of that first line of defense for the skin to help hold the hydration in place and help to really resist that dehydration. And so these are a really great class of ingredients for long-lasting hydration. So they're using ectoin, which I love ectoin, especially for dehydrated skin, for exactly what I just said, long-lasting hydration. They're also using erythritol and betaine that has been sourced from hibiscus. And so all three of these work to really maintain a lot of hydration in the skin. For so much polyglutamic acid, I was surprised by the texture. It's not this like thick, sticky gel-like texture. It's actually quite fluidy, very runny. Be careful, it could shoot across the room because it is so runny. But it has a really nice lightweight gel texture, very fluidy, very quickly absorbed in the skin, really easy to spread, no stickiness, no tackiness, like a truly elegant, lightweight, but deeply hydrating type of serum. I was really impressed by the texture, really impressed with how this performed with the rest of my skincare products. Like it layered in beautifully, and it really does provide long lasting hydration. And you know how I feel about saying stuff like that. I don't say that lightly. I definitely have high hydration needs. My bar for what I think is hydrating is quite high. I was not expecting much from this serum because as much as I need a lot of hydration in my skin, I find these types of serums quite honestly boring. You know, necessary, right? They do function, but they're not as exciting as like lots of AHAs or lots of ceramides, right? They're just hydrating, and well, that is great. I often get that from like my toners and things like that. So I'm just saying like my bias up front is that I find these types of serums, while necessary, not all that exciting. And so it's actually the product that I started using last in this batch of testing because I wasn't as excited about it. But I was surprised by the hydration that it does bring to the skin. And I think what really struck me about it was the long lasting hydration. That's something that I really key in on because I do often suffer with dehydration. So, you know, folks who don't have dehydration, it's easier for you. You put something on hydrating at the beginning of the day and your skin still feels hydrated at the end of the night because you're not losing water through your skin throughout the day or while you're sleeping or whatever, right? But if you have higher hydration needs, your skin demands a lot of hydration because it's going through dehydration to transepidermal water loss and losing hydration throughout the day. Well, now something that feels really hydrating for folks with not dehydrated skin doesn't work past 12 p.m., right? For dehydrated folks. So you need something that lasts longer in the skin, that works harder for you. And there's a lot of different ways to achieve that, not just with one product, but oftentimes our combination of products as well as our moisturizers and our occlusives and things like that. And then working on that skin barrier, yes. But I guess I'm just saying that because I have those high hydration needs and I'm very clued into hydration that lasts for a few hours on my type of skin, or that lasts till the end of the day. And I felt like this lasted till the end of the day. I still think it's kind of boring at the end of the day. But all that being said, if you're looking for this type of product, I think it performs beautifully. So overall, color me impressed. I actually really enjoyed these 5 products that I tried out from Prequel, and I am looking forward to trying more in the future. I would say overall, I definitely recommend the brand, especially if you are somebody with sensitive skin. You're looking for fragrance-free products. You're looking for products that work, that use ingredients that are going to get the job done, that have been formulated in a smart way. I really couldn't find much fault with any of these products. Maybe Gleanser, maybe. And the things that I felt in my personal experience were very minor. But all that being said, I think that there's some gems here, especially for sensitive folks. And I do feel like that this, this brand is definitely trying to keep things affordable, keeping things pretty straightforward. And that's also something as a consumer, especially with rising prices, is something that I really do respect. So yeah, I was impressed. And I think that some of the hype that this brand is receiving is well deserved. So definitely a recommend from me. I am curious if you've tried anything from this brand before. What are your thoughts? Let us all know in the comments below. If you love this review and it was helpful for you, but you haven't hit subscribe, please, what are you doing? Come join our skincare community so you can see more videos reviewing skincare just like this one. I love you so much. Thanks for being here with me today. I just want to encourage you to keep shining your light, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye.